What's up guys? So today we're gonna be doing a very big video for me, which is 72 budget Yu-Gi-Oh cards that every budget player should have. So for me personally, I'm a budget player too. So this I'm speaking out of personal experience. These cards tend to help me out a lot, especially back when I'm still as a beginner in the game. These cards helped me out a lot, and many of them still help me out today, still. So my definition of budget for today is $5 or less for one card. Unlike other Yu-Gi-Oh videos, or many Yu-Gi-Oh, not all, I'm not gonna say all, but some Yu-Gi-Tubers specify that budget means under $100 for a playset. Now, I don't know about you guys, but $100 in my currency is a lot, and I'm not willing to pay that much just for 3 cards. So my definition of budget is way more different. Is way too different. My definition of a budget player is different from what's a new player. A new player is someone who focuses on different cards than a budget player. They have two different interests, and I'm gonna compare them today. Let's just get straight into the video because this is gonna take a long time actually. First of all, cards that are literally about to get banned, okay? Artifact Sanctum and Artifact Scythe. Now, usually what you play in your deck, if you're a beginner watching this, I'm gonna explain everything, okay? So Sanctum is a trap, it's a normal trap. You can flip it on the opponent's turn to special summon, usually Scythe from the deck in defense or attack. So what Scythe does, if it's special summoned during your opponent's turn, you get to the opponent can't special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. So you basically just straight up lock them from the extra deck with just one card and one card in the main deck. So what you do is you usually play 3 Sanctum and 1 Scythe to flip the Sanctum and lock them, and the other Sanctums are useless. The prices at the time of recording, Sanctum was $4.50 and Scythe was $3. This Scythe, I don't know about other Scythes, and this Sanctum was $4. The cheapest one is $4. There are others for $3, and there was one for $8, but that's the secret rare. Moving on. Oh yeah, I have to also mention that some cards I have are high rarity, high end rarity, secret rares, ultra rares, gold rares. Not all of them have this rarity print only, so you can get other cards for lower rarity and lower price. Next up, a card that's very underrated in today's game, Soravia is the Ancient and Ascended. So this was actually the very first secret rare I pulled, and I still have it, so that's really nice. There are ultra rares of this, and the effect of this: if the opponent activates a card that targets your own monster effect, okay, I'm just gonna zoom in on it a bit. When your opponent activates a card effect that targets a monster you control, you can discard this card, negate the activation. Okay, so basically when the opponent targets a monster you control, discard Soravias to negate. Now this is very underrated. I don't see this card getting any play at all, even though it's pretty powerful. And if you're a new player, this could be very, very useful for you. You play your turn regularly, and when the opponent tries to effect Valor or infinite impermanence on your turn, you can just chain Soravias and negate that. So Soravias is a pretty powerful card. The second effect of Soravias is actually pretty useless. When it's special summoned from grave, you get to oh no, sorry. If this card's on the field and your opponent special summons a monster, you can return Soravias to the hand to banish that monster. But the problem with this is that it's a ritual monster, so it's not that easy to get out. Anyway, this is it for Soravias. The ultra rare of this, the ultra rare is $1. The secret rare is I think 4 or 5. So that you can just play the ultra rare. Next up, Alpha. Alpha, the Master of Beasts. This card was recently reprinted in the Megatons. Before that, it was a secret rare that cost around $30. Now it's Alpha, the ultra rare that costs $3. What this card does is it's a big effect, as you can see, so I have to zoom in a lot. Cannot be normal summon. Must first be special summoned from your hand, while the attack of all monsters your opponent controls is more than or equal to the monsters you control. So basically, if the opponent controls more attack, if they control total attack more than your monsters, you can special summon Alpha, okay? And then the second effect is you can return Alpha to hand to return to non-targeting, return any monster your opponent controls to the hand. So that's very powerful. It can get rid of Dragoon, get rid of Avramax, it can get rid of... if the opponent already activated DPE on some other card, you can get rid of DPE. So it's pretty powerful. Also, Alpha's... you're able to special summon Alpha twice per turn, actually. But you're only able to activate the effect to return once per turn. Alpha's $3 now, and yeah, that's it for Alpha. Next up, Cyframe Gear Gamma and Cyframe Gear Driver. Cyframe Driver. These cards have been reprinted in the Maximum Gold Eldorado. Basically, if you control no monsters, Cyframe Driver, you can special... and the opponent activates a monster. If you control no monsters, and the opponent activates a monster effect, you get to special summon Gamma from hand, and then special summon Driver from deck. Okay? And then negate that monster effect and destroy it. So that's pretty powerful. The only downside to this is the fact that you have to control no monsters, so it doesn't work unless the opponent absolutely destroys your board, or it's on turn 2, unless you're going second. Driver's price is literally a few cents, and Gamma is, at the time of recording, $4 or $4.50. So it still counts as my definition of budget. Next up, so the cards aren't really organized actually, they're all just random cards. I've sorted them in a way in which all cards that are related are together. Next up, Metaion the Time Lord. Metaion the Time Lord. So I have a Time Lord deck, I just didn't make a profile of it yet. And Metaion's a pretty powerful card, in which if you control no monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributes. Neither player take any damage from this card. Neither player take any battle damage from battles involving this card, okay? And it can't be destroyed by battle, it can't be destroyed by card effects, and it returns to your deck during your standby phase. So that's three of the main effects. Metaion, if it battles, okay, at the end of the battle phase, Metaion can return all monsters your opponent controls to the hand, and then inflict 300 damage for each monster returned to hand. So it's an out to pretty much everything. Metaion is a very broken Time Lord actually. The only reason it doesn't see play is because you have to control no monsters, like Gamma. Next up is a very, very famous card, Raigaki. The effect is so simple. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Oh, I forgot to mention, Metaion is $1. Raigaki is also $1. It simply just destroys all monsters your opponent controls. Raigaki is limited, because more than one Raigaki in the deck is just a tad bit too broken. So yeah, that's it. Next up, I have actually a few Link monsters in a row here. So let me just get all of them. So first off, Topologic Zeroboros, Unchained Abomination, and Relinquished Anima. So, Zeroboros is a Link 4 monster, a generic Link 4. You can special summon it, and then if the opponent special summons any monster to a zone a Link monster points to, you get to banish all cards on the field, and during the end phase that this card was banished in, you get to special summon Topologic Zeroboros. So it's pretty powerful to just nuke the board. Zeroboros' price is literally a few cents. Next up, Abomination. Abomination is a Link 4 that its materials are 2+ monsters, including a Link monster. So you have to at least have one Link monster on the field to be able to go into this guy. His effect is when a card is destroyed by battle, you can destroy one card in the field. When a card is destroyed by card effects, you can destroy one card in the field. And during the end phase, you can destroy one card in the field. Of course, all of his effects are once per turn. And the effect that is destroyed by card effects, like it here, if you zoom in, just let it focus. If a card on the field is destroyed by card effects, except by Unchained Abomination. So the end phase effect does not count. But you still get to destroy one card during both players' end phases. And if the opponent destroys a card, you get to destroy a card. If you destroy a card, you get to destroy a card. So it's pretty powerful for beginners. Hell, I even used this in my Sky Strikers for a long while. Like, I still use it until I got Avramax. Next up, the card that recently got reprinted in Brothers of Legend, Relinquished Anima. So you probably won't play this card, but its materials are one level 1 monster except a token. So basically what you do is if the opponent has a monster, like here are the extra monster zones, okay, here are the extra monster zones, and the opponent has a monster here or here. You summon a level 1 monster, and then you link into Anima, and then activate Anima's effect, which is straight up takes the opponent's monster that it points to, because Anima points up. It points to that monster, steals him. Does it steal him forever though? equip that face-up monster to this card. Basically, you summon Anima, and then that monster becomes equipped to Anima. You basically just outed whatever monster the opponent has. That's very powerful. This card was actually around $20 before the reprint, so that's really good. Now it's $1, literally. Abomination, the ultra rare is $3 and the secret rare is $4. So it's up to you. Next up, a card that I don't personally find very useful. This, I don't know about you guys. Magic Cylinder. When the opponent attacks, flip Magic Cylinder, they take the damage instead. Simple. They take the attack of the monster instead. So that's pretty powerful. Other than that, Magic Cylinder is not that useful because it doesn't really do much. Just damages the opponent and saves you from one attack. The thing is, I don't personally find this useful because cards have to do other things too. Like, they can't just inflict damage, that's it. Unless you're playing Chain Burn, it's not that useful. Magic Cylinder is literally under $1, so yeah. Next up, a very good Link 4 called Saryuja Skuldred. Saryuja Skuldred has 3 effects. If this card was Link summoned with 2 or more monsters, this card gains effects, okay, based on the number of materials used for its Link summon. So if you used 4 monsters, you get all the effects. The first effect is if a monster is no more special summoned to a zone this card points to, that monster gains 300 attack. The second effect, once per turn during your main phase, you can special summon 1 monster from hand. That's pretty good too. And the fourth effect, when this card is Link summoned, you get to draw 4 cards and then put 3 cards from your hand, not necessarily from the cards you drew, 4 cards from your hand to the bottom of the deck. This card is cracked. Like, 6 Samurais absolutely break this card, and any deck that's able to spam monsters continuously just breaks this card. It's very, very powerful, and it's literally under $1. Last time I checked, it was 86 cents. Next up, a pretty nice card called Upstart Goblin. You draw 1 card, the opponent gains 1,000 life points. Simple. What Upstart Goblin does, the reason you play Upstart Goblin is for one reason, and it's to play 39 cards instead of playing 40. Because you activate it, you draw it, then you activate it. So technically you're like just playing 39 cards, but the opponent has 9,000 life points. But that's fine in most decks. Like, as long as you're able to play, it's fine. Next up, we have 2 spell and trap removals, which are Cosmic Cyclone and Mystical Space Typhoon. MST is very famous, and Cosmic Cyclone is also very famous. Cosmic Cyclone, just activate this card, pay 1,000 life points, banish spell or trap on the field. MST has no cost, it just targets a spell or trap, and destroys it. But Cosmic Cyclone banishes it, so like, you see the difference? Those are both pretty good staples, and MST is under $1, Cosmic Cyclone is $2. So yeah. Next up, a card that's actually been getting pretty hyped so far, because usually there's a card called Forbidden Droplet, which is $95. This card is basically the same thing, just cheaper, but not exactly the same effect too. Like, it's pretty good, but not the same exact thing. So Forbidden Chalice is it just flips it, target 1 face-up monster on the field, it negates its effects, and if you do, it gains 400 attack. So it's basically just, you negate it. The 400 attack probably won't be enough to do anything. So just basically, you negate the opponent's monster effect. It's very, very powerful, and also it helps to the fact that it's quick play. So like, the opponent activates something on your turn that you want to stop, just activate Chalice from hand, chain it. Next up, Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning, and Lost Wind. So Solemn Judgment is pay half your life points to negate anything, to just say no to the opponent. And Solemn Warning is when an effect is activated that would special summon a monster, or when a spell or trap card, or monster effect. Like, when a monster would be summoned, okay, or an effect activates that special summons a monster, pay 2,000 life points to negate that monster, to negate that summon, and destroy it. So it's pretty good, but not in all scenarios. So Judgment's better. And finally, Lost Wind. Lost Wind is basically the same as Chalice, just it's a trap. But instead of making the monster gain 400, you flip it, the monster's attack gets halved, okay? And then it goes to grave. But when the opponent special summons the monster from the extra deck, you get to reset Lost Wind, but it gets banished when it leaves the field. So that's really, really powerful. The reason I haven't put Solemn Strike in here is because Solemn Strike is $6 at the time of recording the video. So, no. Next up. Oh, that's a nice card. Linkuribo. Basically, Anima, just not Anima. Yes, but no. So what you do is just one level 1 monster, you summon Linkuribo, and that's it. If the opponent attacks it, you can chain Linkuribo to negate the attack. That's basically it. But Linkuribo is usually used to get a level 1 monster in grave. Next up, a very good card actually, that also works as a side deck option, Book of Moon. Book of Moon is a card that's, how do I say it? It's not too good and it's not bad. Okay, it's good, just not good enough to be played. Okay, like basically you can set it as a trap. It's a quick play, so set it, and during the opponent's turn he summons, he's about to link or fusion, he's about to link or synchro or exceed or anything. You flip Book of Moon, you set that monster. Basically, Book of Moon just targets one face-up monster on the field, change that target to face-down defense. So the opponent flips, the opponent like is about to like go into an Xyz play or about to synchro. You just chain Book of Moon to flip that monster face down, or flip the monster he summons. It's up to you. So Book of Moon is pretty powerful, to be honest. Oh, now these are nice. Next up, the 4 Charmers: Oza, Win, Area, Hita. I've just noticed that I've stopped mentioning prices. Give me a second. I've just noticed that I stopped mentioning prices. So, Book of Moon, $1. Linkuribo, $1. Solemn Warning, cents. Solemn Judgment, $1. Lost Wind, $1. Chalice, $2. The fact that I know this is just... Why do I know this? Anyway, Hita, Area, Win, Oza. Basically, each one of them is a different attribute. Like one is Earth, one is Wind, one is Water, one is Fire. They're all spellcasters, and they all have the same summoning requirements. 1 monster, 2 monsters, including a monster with their same attributes. So in case of Hita, it's 2 monsters including a fire monster, 2 monsters including a water, 2 monsters including a wind, 2 monsters including an earth. So depending on which deck you play, you might want to play one of these, because if the opponent plays that same attribute you're playing, you can link into whichever, let's say just Oza for example, you link into whichever one you want, and you get, like, the effect of each one of them is the same. You get to you get to like remove and take an opponent's monster from grave and special summon it to your field. Okay? Only in your opponent's monster. Only the opponent's graveyard, not yours. So it's pretty good if you know who you're going up against. But I wouldn't recommend siding these in. Also, they all have a floating effect in which if they leave the field, you get to add the same attribute, a monster of the same attribute with 1500 defense or less. Yep, with 1500 defense or less. Yeah, those are the Charmers. They're all super cheap, literally in cents, because they all have like 10 reprints. Next up, there's Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep is a card that you might not use in every deck, but it's a good card to have on you regardless. Its effect is... okay, if a monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, okay, you can apply the following effects in sequence based on the card types of the monster this card points to. If you special summon a ritual to the zone Cross Sheep points to, you get to draw 2. If you special summon a synchro, all monsters your opponent controls gain 700. All monsters you control gain 700. You special summon a fusion, you get to bring back a level 4 from grave. And you special summon an Xyz, all monsters your opponent controls lose 700. So usually you're going for the fusion effect, in which you can get to bring back 1 level 4 or lower. It's pretty powerful. Cross Sheep is a card that has 3 reprints. One of which being, I think, $2, the other being $3, and this being $1. So, not much. Next up, there's Bolo Dragon. Very, very powerful Link 4. Generic material, 3+ effect monsters. Basically, you get to summon him, attack into anything, and then steal it. It's that easy. Also, you can quick effect, make any monster your opponent controls lose 500 attack, and the opponent can't respond to that. If this card... wait, 1 second. Yep, that's basically it. So I just took a second to read it again because I thought I missed something, but yeah, that's basically it. It has pretty good arrows if you're playing a Link deck, and it's worth playing. The reason I didn't include Boral Sword is because Boral Sword is $10 at the time of recording the video. Next up, 3 Xyz monsters that are quite good, but not too good. Dark Rebellion, Break Sword, Cursed Javelin. Okay? So, Dark Rebellion, two level 4s. You can detach 2 material to half the attack of opponent's monster and Dark Rebellion gains that attack. Okay. Then there's Breaksword, which is you can detach 1 material, target 1 card you control and 1 card your opponent controls, destroy them. And then there's Cursed Javelin, in which you can detach 1 material to target an opponent's monster, make it 0 attack, and negate its effects. So basically, Dark Rebellion and Cursed Javelin have like similar effects, in which you can attack over an opponent's monster, while Breaksword destroys a card. So I've included these because one is a generic level 2, rank 2, one is a generic rank 3, one is a generic rank 4. So these are usually very good. They don't see lots of plays, but new players would like these, and so will budget players. Next up, my very first copy of Dark Hole, actually. It's so destroyed it's from the structure deck Link Strike, so it's quite old. Anyway, Dark Hole is destroy monsters on the field. It's a go second card. It's pretty good. There's nothing much to be said about it. And I just realized once again that I didn't mention these cards' prices. Breaksword, cents. Cursed Javelin, cents. Dark Rebellion, $1. Warlord, $1. Dark Hole, less than $1. We're almost halfway through. We're not even halfway through yet. Oh my god, this video is gonna be long. Mind Crush. Mind Crush is a card. It's a trap. Of course, it's a card. Declare 1 card name. If that card's in your opponent's hand, they must discard all copies of it. Otherwise, discard 1 random card. So basically, what you do is you set Mind Crush. When the opponent searches a card, you get to flip Mind Crush and declare that card. So he will have to discard it. That's basically what you do with Mind Crush. And worst case scenario, you can just declare any random card that you know the opponent's playing. If he doesn't have it, worst case scenario, you're gonna just randomly discard a card. Now, there's 4 Ghost Sisters. There's Ghost Ogre, Ghost Mourner, Ghost Belle, and Ghost Sister. Now, first of all, don't go crazy in the comments. I know this is not a golden, I couldn't find one. Ghost Ogre, they're all level 3 zombies, okay? Zombie tuners, they're all level 3 zombie tuners. So, if your deck uses tuners, if your deck uses zombies, if your deck uses level 3s, I would recommend any of these. But Ghost Ogre's just, for some reason, it's psychic, okay? Their effects, Ogre. If a card's activated on the field, you get to discard Ogre to destroy it. But that doesn't mean it negates it, it just destroys it. Ghost Mourner. If a card in the field is special, if your opponent special summons a monster, you can discard Mourner. That monster is negated until the end of the turn. If that monster leaves the field, your opponent takes damage equal to that monster's attack. And Ghost Belle, when the opponent tries to move a card from the graveyard, you get to discard Ghost Belle to negate. Spooky Dogwood is activated. For the rest of the turn, any monster the opponent special summons, you gain life points equal to that monster's attack. If you do not gain any life points by this effect, you have your life points at the end phase. So, these are all very powerful cards that have seen... Ghost Belle has seen a lot of play. Ghost Ogre has seen a lot of play. Mourner not so much, and Spooky Dogwood almost none. Spooky Dogwood hasn't seen almost any play. So, just excuse me, someone entered the room. I had to like tell him to go away. Anyway, so Ghost Sister is a good card for most players because it gains a lot of life points. If you're a new player, you'll find this pretty good. This is also good if you're an intermediate player or a professional player, because in game 2, if you win the first game, you get to activate this, and then you'd like stall for time. That works, I guess, but like, who would really want to stall for time? Prices. Ogre, $2. I think even $1, I don't know. Ghost Mourner, $4. Ghost Belle, the cheapest Ghost Belle is $4. This copy is $7. Ghost Sister, a few cents. So if Ghost Ogre's price increases, which it probably will, don't blame me, okay? It was $4 at the time of recording. Now, there are a few obvious cards in this video, like Monster Reborn, for example. Everyone knows what Monster Reborn does. Just special summon a monster from other player graveyards, and it's very, very cheap. So that's it. Now, there's a card that most players don't really know about. It's called Silent Graveyard. You flip it, and the opponent, neither player can activate effects in the graveyard for the rest of the turn. Like, if the opponent has a card effect that activates in the graveyard, it's negated. King Long, Chu Chi, Xuan Wu in case of Virtual World, Silent Boots, Ancient Cloak, Ragged Gloves in case of Phantom Knights. What else? Eldritch the Golden Lord, Sanguine, Haquero in case of Eldritch. Yeah, those are just a few examples. I know more, but I don't remember right now. So Sun Graveyard's pretty powerful, and it's super cheap. Rivalry of the Warlords. If your deck only plays one type, this card is definitely for you. Because you can flip it, it's a continuous trap. Both players can only control one type of monster. So if the opponent controls like multiple types, like a Psychic, a Zombie, a Wyrm, in case of Virtual World, you can just flip this card and they have to only control one type. It's pretty powerful against most decks, to be honest. So if your deck only plays one type, like Cyberse in case of Salamangreat, just flip this card and the opponent basically loses. Mind Control. This is also one of the obvious cards. Just steal an opponent's monster, target an opponent's monster, steal it. You can't use it for any tributes. But Mind Control is pretty powerful because, I mean, it's Mind Control. What better do you want? Now, there's a nice something here I want to talk about, okay? There's the Numeron engine. Numeron Gate Ekam, Numeron Gate Dve, Numeron Gate Trini, and Numeron Gate, what's the last guy? Katvari. So, those four cards, along with Numeron Network, Numeron Wall, and Numeron Calling, are super powerful. Along with one more card, which is Infinitrack Fortress Megaclops. I'll explain those. So, these cards are basically an engine you can play. Usually you play 2 Network, 2 Numeron Wall, and 1 Numeron Calling. Or some decks play 3, 3, 1. Or 2, sorry. What you do is, this is basically the combo. I'll explain their effects while we're going on. You activate Numeron Network. Network sends Calling from deck to the graveyard. Okay? And then you special summon each of the Numeron gates. Okay? You special summon each of them. And for the rest of the turn, they don't have to detach material to activate their effects. That's because of Numeron Network. What you do is now, and also because of Numeron Calling, you can only special summon 1 monster after this. What you do is, you attack with Numeron Gate Ekam. You take whatever damage if you attack a monster with higher than 1000. But Numeron Gate Ekam doesn't get destroyed anyway. At the end of the damage step, all your Numeron gates double their attack. Then you attack with a different one, which is, let's just say, number 2. Okay, let's just put them in order, because why not? Number 1 attacks, inflict a bit of damage, and then number 2 attacks. You might inflict damage with number 2 because it's 2000. And then number 3, but then they double again. Number 3 becomes 4000. You attack with number 3, okay? If you deal a bit of damage, then number 4's attack is doubled. Or actually, all of them are doubled. So, but number 4 is the only one that can still attack. Number 4 becomes 8000. 8000. So now if the opponent didn't die already, you can just continue with Numeron Gate Katvari to just straight up end your opponent. If the opponent somehow manages to survive all of this, you use your last special summon and special summon Infinitrack Fortress Megaclops using these 3. Or whatever 3, to be honest, it doesn't matter. Megaclops. Now, Megaclops materials are 3 Xyz monsters, okay? They're unaffected by other monster effects except Xyz. And cannot be destroyed by card effects, except Xyz card effects. Cannot be destroyed by battle, except with an Xyz monster, sorry. And once per turn, you can special summon one number. You can special summon 1 Xyz monster from your graveyard and target an opponent's monster and equip it to that monster as material. So what you do is you basically just wait till the next turn and then special summon 1 and equip an opponent's monster. You still have a 4000 attack, almost indestructible monster. So that's really, really good. So this is basically just a beginner thing. They've been reprinted recently, to be honest. They were actually rather expensive, but now they got reprinted. What Numeron Wall does is just simply searches network. So what you do is prices. Network. A few cents. All of them are like together, they're under $3. And Megaclops is $1. So if you want to play this, I'd highly recommend it actually. Because not that no one expects it, just no one expects a new player to play this, because usually new players don't know about this. So I'm giving you like a cheat code right now. Next up, a card that I've seen in many videos actually, Eater of Millions. Eater of Millions, basically you can banish 5 cards from anywhere except the graveyard and the deck to special summon Eater of Millions. Eater of Millions, basically, if it attacks an opponent's monster, you can activate Eater of Millions to banish that monster face down. Eater gains 1000 attack for every 100 attack for every face down banished card in the field, on both players' fields. So basically, what you do with Eater is you can make him gain 100 attack per turn by attacking into a monster. The opponent you will activate Eater to banish that monster's opponent. I have to chill because I'm stuttering a lot. You have to activate Eater of Millions on the attack. You banish that monster face down. Then Eater of Millions gains another 100 attack. So it's a pretty good staple that costs little to nothing. And it's a rather old card actually. It's not too good to be banned because you can still get... it can still get destroyed by card effects easily, because it literally has no protection except by battle. So that's it. Now another very obvious card, Brain Control. Pay 800 life points. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls that can be normal summoned or set. So like a main deck monster. Take control of that target until the end phase. And you can do whatever you want with it. Usually you just link it off to get rid of it. But after like attacking or something, it's up to you. Brain Control is under $1. Pancratops. Pancratops is a very famous Yu-Gi-Oh card right now. It's very strong too. If the opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon Pancratops. And then, quick effect, you get to destroy Pancratops or any other Dino Wrestler monster you control, but usually you're playing only Pancratops. Destroy Pancratops to target any card on the opponent's field and destroy it. So, if the opponent does anything, attacks Pancratops, attempt to destroy Pancratops, you can chain Pancratops to tribute itself to destroy a card on the opponent's field. It's very powerful because it's a free special summon if you're going second. This ultra rare is under $1, so the common is even cheaper. Now a card that I have no idea how this doesn't see a lot of play. It's broken. Dimensional Barrier. Okay, Dimensional Barrier. You set it, you flip it on the opponent's turn, the opponent's done. Basically, you can declare one card type. Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, Ritual, Pendulum. One of these. Okay? And then for the rest of the turn, monsters from that type cannot be special summoned and negate the effect of all face-up monsters with that type. So Dimensional Barrier is a broken card. If you're going against, like, let's say Destiny Heroes, you flip this card against them and they can't fusion summon. You flip this card against what's the name? You flip this card against Phantom Knights, they can't Xyz summon. Flip this card against Virtual World, they can't Synchro summon. Flip this card against Salamangreat. Oh no, you can't do that to Salamangreat. Anyway, it's a broken card against almost any matchup. So why wouldn't you play this? It's literally under $1. It's so accessible. Everyone has it. It took me 2 days to find 6 cards because I have a brother and we both play. So I needed 2 for both of our side decks. I needed 6, sorry, for both of our side decks. So it took me 2 days to find 6 of this. So what better do I need? Next up, Artifact Lancia. This card's getting expensive right now, so buy it while you can. Artifact Lancia is basically you can discard it during the opponent's turn, and neither player can banish cards for the rest of the turn. Oh, is it your opponent? One second, let me just zoom in. See the first effect? You can set this card from your spell and trap zone. This is like a unique effect to all the artifact effects. But you don't use this because Lancia has a distinction which you're able to use it from hand. So just use it from hand, it's easier. Basically, you get to discard Lancia during the opponent's turn, okay? And then neither player can banish cards for the rest of the turn. So it's very powerful because matchups like, for example, you're going up against Grim Maju, you stop their turn. You're going up against Eldritch, you don't allow them to banish. You're going up against zombies, you don't allow them to banish. Invoked, they can't banish. It's very, very powerful against almost anything. Virtual World, no effects. Like, come on. It's $2, I think, $3 maximum. So that's it. Now there's, I think, just we're 75% done. There's still a lot of cards. I'm stuttering a lot because I'm not used to talking for so long. Let's see. Harpies Feather Duster, very powerful card, just straight up activated, destroys all spell and traps the opponent controls. This card is $3. It was banned recently, but then it got unbanned. It was banned for a long time, but then it recently got unbanned. And Twin Twisters. Discard 1 card, target 2 cards on the field, target 2 spell and traps on the field, destroy them. So Twin Twisters is a very powerful card. I think it's the most played card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's just that good. Like, it's better than Mystical Space Typhoon, it's better than Cosmic Cyclone in most cases, it's better than Harpies Feather Duster. Like, what better do you need? Also, the effect of discarding a card can sometimes be beneficial. Now, the two anti-trap cards, Red Reboot and Royal Decree. Royal Decree negate all effects of trap cards, except this card. And Red Reboot is, when your opponent activates a trap card, negate the activation. And if you do, set that card face down. Okay, you set their card face down. And they can set one other trap from their deck. But for the rest of the turn, they can't activate traps. And you can activate Red Reboot from hand if you want to pay half your... You can pay half your life points to activate Red Reboot from hand. So when they least expect it. The thing is about these two... The thing is about... Royal Decree is awesome. Just Red Reboot. The thing is that they get to set another trap from deck. So, if they set a trap good enough to kill you next turn... Like, if they set a trap to like... To give them enough extenders next turn, you might lose on the next turn. So, who knows? But usually just flip this against... Flip Royal Decree against Altergeist. They're screwed. Flip it against Subterrors. They're done. Flip it against Eldritch. They're done. Like, come on. It's so good. Royal Decree, under $1. Red Reboot, under $1. Now, there's a hand trap. A couple of hand traps, actually, in a row. So, there's Effect Veiler, Skullmeister, and DD Crow. Effect Veiler, just you can discard it from hand to target one monster on the field, negate its effects. Target an opponent's monster, negate its effects. Skullmeister is when a card is activated in the graveyard, you get to discard Meister to negate that effect. And DD Crow, you can discard this card as a quick effect to target one card in the graveyard, banish it. Both players' graveyard. All of this applies to both players. What's really powerful about these cards is that they're so versatile. Send Engage to grave, DD Crow. Activate King Long in grave, Meister. Activate Eldritch the Golden Lord in grave, Meister. Activate Spinny in grave, Meister. What else? What activates on the field? Eluber, the Jester of Despia. Veiler. Like everything. You can do this to almost any deck. Any good deck right now. Okay, almost done. Just a bit more to go. Called by the Grave, which is just straight up banishes any card from the graveyard and negates its effects and all other effects with that same name for the rest of the turn. So like the opponent activates an hand trap, Ash Blossom, one of the most famous hand traps in the world, in Yu-Gi-Oh. Activate Ash Blossom, it sends itself to grave for cost. You can flip Cold Buy to banish Ash and negate it. That's basically it. Cold Buy is also very good if the opponent targets a card in the grave. Then you can Cold Buy to banish that card and it's negated, so it's no longer in grave, so they can't target it, like you get it. Cold Buy is definitely limited for a good reason. It's very broken. Now, a card that literally almost every player hates except me and a couple of players at my locals. Okay? Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine is $2. It's super cheap. Oh, and I forgot to mention more prices. Yippee. Veiler, $2. Crow, $2. Meister, $1. Cold Buy, $1. Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine is $2, so that I don't forget. And basically, whoever controls more monsters cannot activate monster effects and cannot attack. That's basically it. It's so broken that it's hated by all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Except me. Like, I love this card because I can out it in every single deck I have. So that's basically it. Next up, two very famous cards, Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix. These are each under $1, and they're generic link 2 and 3. Both of which you can discard a card to remove one card on the field. Nightmare Unicorn targets a spell or trap, destroys it. Nightmare Unicorn, sorry, targets one card. Discard, target one card on the field, shuffle it back into the deck. Phoenix, discard, target one spell or trap, destroy it. The video's 40 minutes long. Come on, I don't want to do this. I mean, did you see the intro at the start? Like, I literally spent 2 hours trying to figure out the app so that I can make the intro. And now I do this, which takes another 40 minutes. Like, come on. Anyway, Instant Fusion and Thousand Eyes Restrict. You can activate Instant Fusion, pay 1000 life points, special summon Thousand Eyes Restrict from the extra deck. Thousand Eyes Restrict is a link material. Thousand Eyes Restrict can steal an opponent's monster. And it gets destroyed during the end phase, so the monster gets destroyed too. So that's really good. They usually come as a package, Instant Fusion, Thousand Eyes Restrict. It's very powerful. And the best part is, they're both super, super cheap. Instant Fusion being under $1 and Thousand Eyes Restrict being a few cents. Super Poly and Muddy Dragon. There's also Starving Venom here, but I didn't bring it because I'm stupid. Anyway, Super Poly is... You can flip it, okay? And neither player can respond to it, by the way. Discard one card. Fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck. Using monsters from either field as material. You can't use monsters from hand. Okay, either field. Both players' fields. Another player can negate that. So, Mud Dragon is usually the target because its materials are two monsters. Just let it focus. Two monsters with the same attribute but different types. So, if the opponent's playing like Medolce, for example, I just remembered. Medolce, these controls two earth, and one of them is beast, the other is a fairy. You get to flip Super Poly, use them both. Notice how you fusion summon using monsters you don't control, and bring out Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon cannot be targeted, okay? And all monsters you control with the same attribute as Mud Dragon cannot be targeted too. And Mud Dragon, once per turn, quick effect, can change his attribute. So basically, once per turn, all your monsters you control are untargetable. That's broken if you ask me. Finally, the last 4 cards. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, Jizukiru, Gadarla, and Gemesiel. Now, what you do with this. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber destroys all monsters on the field, okay, and then special summons a kaiju to the opponent's side of the field, and special summons a kaiju to your side of the field, from the deck. And then during the next turn, you get to banish Interrupted Kaiju to search another kaiju. But that's not really relevant. What you do is Interrupted Kaiju, destroying everything on the field. Now, the thing is about these board nukes is that most meta decks don't expect them. They don't set up a negate for this type of stuff. They set up a negate for a monster effect or a target or something that you wouldn't expect is to just the opponent to straight up destroy everything you control. And the best part about Gadarla and Interrupted Kaiju, they're under a cent each, under $1 each because they got a reprint. Jizukiru is under $1 and Gemesiel is the only expensive card here being $2. That's it. The Kaijus themselves, if you draw them, you get to special summon them to the opponent's field by tributing a monster they control. Non-targeting, of course, because it's not even an effect, it's an inherent summon. Basically, you get to remove any opponent's monster. And if the opponent controls a kaiju, you get to special summon a kaiju to your field. So that's even better. Of course, this is not explained in detail. Each kaiju has a long effect, but you have to go read that yourself. For me, the video is almost 45 minutes long. I've been in front of the camera for too long. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you weren't thrown off by the amount of stuttering I did. Okay, I hope you didn't change the video yet. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. See you.